Restitution of Conjugal Rights, under the Hindu Marriage Act, 1955, refers to a legal remedy where an aggrieved spouse can petition the court to order the other spouse to resume cohabitation if they have, without reasonable excuse, withdrawn from the marital society, essentially meaning they have left the shared household without a valid justification, allowing the court to decree that they must return and live together again. This is primarily governed by Section 9 of the Act. Key points about restitution of conjugal rights. 1. Purpose. The primary goal is to encourage reconciliation between spouses by providing a legal mechanism to compel a spouse who has left the marital home to return and resume cohabitation, aiming to preserve the marriage. 2. Conditions for filing a petition. One spouse must have withdrawn from the society of the other without a reasonable excuse. The aggrieved party must prove that the withdrawal was unjustified. 1. How it works. The aggrieved spouse files a petition in the court seeking a decree of restitution of conjugal rights. The court will hear both parties and if satisfied that the withdrawal was without reasonable cause, will issue a decree ordering the spouse to return to the marital home. 1. Limitations and criticisms. Enforcement challenges. Critics argue that enforcing a decree of restitution of conjugal rights can be difficult as the court cannot force a spouse to live with the other against their will. Privacy concerns. Some argue that this remedy may infringe on an individual's right to privacy and personal autonomy. Potential for abuse. There is a concern that this remedy could be misused by a spouse to exert control over the other. Important points to remember. Not a guaranteed divorce prevention tool. Even if a court grants a decree of restitution of conjugal rights, the aggrieved spouse can still pursue a divorce if reconciliation efforts fail. Judicial discretion. Courts generally approach petitions for restitution of conjugal rights cautiously and will consider the specific circumstances of each case before issuing a decree. Restitution of conjugal rights can significantly interfere with a working woman's rights by forcing her to relocate to her husband's home, potentially disrupting her career and employment opportunities, effectively compelling her to prioritize her marital duties over her professional aspirations, especially if she is living away from her spouse to pursue her career. This can be seen as a violation of her right to reside and practice a profession freely in any part of the country. Key points on how it impacts working women. 1. Location constraint. A court order for restitution of conjugal rights can mandate a wife to move back to her husband's residence, even if she is currently living in a different city for work, essentially limiting her ability to choose where she lives and works. 2. Career disruption. If a woman is forced to relocate due to a restitution order, she might have to leave her current job, potentially impacting her career progression and financial stability. 3. Power imbalance. In many cases, husbands may use this legal remedy to exert power over their wives, especially when they are financially dependent or face societal pressure to prioritize family life. And 4. Violation of personal autonomy. A decree of restitution can be seen as a violation of a woman's right to make personal choices about her life, including where she lives and works, and can be perceived as a form of forced cohabitation. Important considerations. Gender bias. Critics argue that the application of restitution of conjugal rights often disproportionately impacts women, as they are more likely to be expected to prioritize domestic duties over their careers. Legal challenges. Several cases have raised concerns about the constitutionality of this remedy, particularly in relation to a woman's right to practice her profession and freedom of movement. Restitution of Conjugal Rights, RCR, is a legal remedy that allows a spouse to seek the return of their marital rights if their partner withdraws from the marriage without a reasonable excuse. 1. How it works. The aggrieved spouse can file a petition in the district court to request RCR. The court will grant RCR if it's satisfied that the other spouse has withdrawn from the marriage without a reasonable excuse. There's no legal reason to deny the application. 1. Case law. Some cases that illustrate RCR include Sushila Bai vs. Prem Narayan. The husband deserted his wife and was unresponsive to her, which was considered sufficient to show that he had withdrawn from the marriage. The wife's petition for RCR was allowed. 1. G. 1930, p. 72. The court ruled that a party's intention to leave the marital home doesn't count as withdrawal from society unless it's included in the factum. 2. Munshi Bazlur Rahim vs. Shamsunisa Begum. This was the first case in India to apply the concept of RCR. RCR is designed to protect the marital relationship and maintain the sanctity of marriage. However, there are some reasons why a petition for RCR might be rejected, including cruelty, adultery, and any other type of marital wrongdoing.